Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host
Chip. What's up?
Chip. What is going on today? We're not just 4 minutes late because we were prepping. There's so many great things to talk about. The preppers, Ripple, XRP, XRP not a security, and I can tell you that neither are the oranges. But man, it's go time. You ready to get into this XRP cryptocurrency? Everybody's fired up.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain with Jeff and Chip.
Man, that intro was a show of itself.
I like to play the drums while I'm doing that. The air drums.
I'm ready to go. Oh man, so check this out. So Crypto Mom.
Wait a minute, Jeff. Hang on a second. Hold up. Wait a minute. We stripped her of that title at least 6 months ago. She's not even known as Crypto Mom anymore because she's completely jumped the shark. She's no longer Crypto Mom. She's Hester Pierce, the way they say it, Hester Pierce, formerly known as Crypto Mom, is out there making some statements.
Yeah, what is she known as now?
She's known as Hester Pierce, formerly known as Crypto Mom.
AKA the Enforcer.
Otherwise known as the Enforcer. Boom, 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 yeah.
So check this out. We're going to jump right into this video. Then we're going to discuss a little bit. So she was talking about the idea that XRP isn't actually a security or doesn't have to be a security, and neither do the oranges. So let's get into this thing. Let's see. Looks like Crypto Eddie, look at that. She popped up over here in the lower right corner. So,
yeah, that's her video. So that's why she watermarked it so we know that it came from her. And we thank her for posting it.
Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
There we go.
So that leads to the question, XRP has been on the market for 8 years. When does a digital asset become a security?
Look at that. Oh, look at those eyes, Jeff. She's getting ready. Look at Pierce. On the left, Jeff on the left, we have a very serious interviewee. On the right, we have Hester Pierce. She has her big glasses ready. She's pondering the question, but she sees the killer dart eyes. She's about to respond. I'm sure she's going to say something very poignant and important. Go ahead.
Wow. No emotion. Here we go.
Or maybe something else. And how does the SEC determine that?
Uh-oh.
Well, I think that is a difficult question. And it's something
Jeff, stop. Whoa. Jeff. This is not even close to being you know what a difficult question is? Like a difficult question is like, is talking about like solving a major problem, right? So like, how do we convert, how do we fix the rupee, right? How do we fix the fiat? How do we fix the banking system? That's a serious question, a hard question. This is not a hard question.
No. What was the question? Let's see. Let's go back. Let's reanalyze this question. Here we go. Let's see how complex it can be.
So that leads to the question, XRP has been on the market for 8 years. When does a digital asset become a security or maybe something else? And how does the SEC determine that?
Uh-oh. All right, you ready for this? There we go.
Well, I think that is a difficult question. And it's something that I've also, again, tried to get us to be a little bit more precise. When we think about a crypto asset, a digital asset as being a security, what we're doing is we're saying that we think it's being sold as part of an investment contract, which means that there are promises being made around the sale of that asset. It doesn't mean that the asset itself necessarily has to be a security.
You get that?
Yeah, I don't know what the heck she's talking about, but go ahead, Jeff. Play the rest of
it. So basically, the asset can be either claiming it to be an investment contract, but it doesn't really have to be a security to be sold as a security, which is true because oranges aren't necessarily securities. However, if you sell the oranges, promising profit from somebody else's work
the orange groves,
of the oranges, and you right. So let's get back to this.
It means that it was being sold as a security. Then the question becomes, at what point can someone sell that asset not as a security? And that is a very difficult line.
So the question wasn't really difficult.
No, the question wasn't difficult at all.
But
by the way,
the answer
was really
very complex.
So I tweeted this out earlier. I said, the question becomes, who is going to rein in the SEC? Who is going to stop putting them on Zooms and all these chats when she's not even talking, probably in an official role anyway? Like, somebody has to rein them in. Stop talking. I mean, between what happened with Flair, what happened with the SEC, it's like crazy pills, like crazy town all over the place. Jeff, she's like, yes, it's when we think about a crypto asset as being a security, what we're saying is it's sold as part of an investment contract. When you bought XRP, did you think you were buying a part of Ripple? Did you think that it depended on anything that Ripple did in order to make the digital asset XRP? So this is where, what happens when you start getting into the questions, and the question becomes is, how long are we going to continue to try to fit digital assets into the Howey test? Why don't we stop that? Let's start over. Yeah. That's the question. The question is, why are we using something from the 1940s?
But why isn't she even referencing the Howey test? She doesn't even bring it up. Now they use the Howey test is applicable. It's not just that you sold an investment contract. It's that it has to meet a certain criteria. It has to meet the standards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's your standards. And if it doesn't fall within that, then it gets more complex. Then you have to analyze it and make a determination as to whether or not it's a security. But the item itself doesn't necessarily have to be a security for it to be sold as a security.
Yeah,
but she didn't say anything new, and she's in her bedroom, so therefore not in her official.
That's weird. Capacity. See, that's a little weird too. That was the first thing I picked up. I'm like, you do it in the kitchen, you do it in the study, you do it in the living room, wherever, right? It's always weird when it's a little bit too much information. Like, I was like, and while she was talking, I was like scanning the room. Like, that's weird, right? It's like in her bedroom.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Yep. I thought that was a little bit weird.
How about the globe in the corner there?
I'm not looking at it right now.
Trying to zoom in.
Put it back up there.
What's that?
Put it back up.
Really. Oh, there you go.
Put it back up there. Yeah, there's a globe, and it's sitting on like an antique type of a dresser of some kind. There's some item right there, Jeff, below your cursor there. What is that? Is that like one of those? It looks
like a coffee mug.
A coffee mug with maybe a pen or something in it?
Something in it. Is that that's a piece of paper, or it looks like a magnet? It looks like the globe is unstable.
Right, it's half off the edge.
Something, yeah,
just like the SEC.
Put something on it in order to balance it out a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like the SEC. We got to really go full screen to kind of get the whole thing. But I love the way the interviewer lays the question on her. A Bloomberg, personality. She asked a very good question. She's a difficult question. It's not a difficult question. It's difficult for the SEC because you guys never know how to answer it. But nobody thought they were buying an investment contract. And she's like, it just doesn't mean that the digital asset necessarily is a security, but could be sold as a security. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it could be.
Then it may have been. Maybe not. It
could be sold as an orange too. Who knows? I mean,
it's a lot of things complex.
So weird. Yeah. It's so bizarre.
You know who did sell a security? I'll show you.
Lily Marlin. Lily Marlin.
And that was in his official capacity.
That was his official capacity as the official, broadcaster, late night strolls, singing, and all that kind of stuff. So I still love it, man. I think it's great. It's like nice tone. Everything's rich. Yeah, I'm reading this. I'm referencing this article. It says Ripple says it never held an ICO, nor its digital asset can be defined as a security since its utility is proven every day across the globe as it's used for cross-border payments. And it kind of plays a little bit into what Hester was saying with the fact that, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that the digital asset itself is a security. Well, why don't you come out and say that when you sue Ripple? We are suing them specifically on 2013 that we believe they sold an unregistered security. But don't worry, people,
because
because today's XRP, well, it might not be. We don't know yet. I mean, it's been 8 years. We're not really sure ourselves, but it could be. Nobody knows for sure. It's insanity, man.
Nobody, especially not when you're. Is the SEC on a budget? Are they having a budget crunch? Do they?
I don't know, Jeff. They might just be off the. I think they have like some kind of wild. It's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. They can just spend whatever they want, do whatever they want, go wherever they want. It can be. It's a total just a free for all. I think is what I think it is.
So Noah Starr says they're trying to portray or having a casual conversation with the community. Want to show the difference between official SEC and personal Hester Pierce. But here it says her own opinions. But really, so they said, you know what? You can't be in a professional background because then people are going to confuse it. And they're going to believe that at that point that you're speaking out in your official capacity. Therefore,
but you know what? I will commend her. She had her bedroom behind her this time, and not the SEC logo that's usually massively stored behind her. Which there's something to be said about that, I suppose.
I think that's what was underneath the globe.
Oh, is that what it was? It was turned over. Hey, flip the SEC logo, okay? Because we want to make sure you're not going to be, talking in some sort of an official capacity of some sort. Yeah, I get that.
Oh my goodness, good stuff. That's funny. So
somebody, I was gonna say, Jay Clayton was on some sort of a Zoom call today, or recently, or something. Somebody had tweeted it out, and I actually think this is interesting. I want to get your take on what you think's going on here, because the way it was tweeted, a lot of people were referencing it like, "Oh, well, I think this is what's happening." But let's just listen to it a little bit. And I want to get your take to see what you think is what is actually happening in this clip here. Let's do it.
Look, when we arrived 3 years ago, the promise of this technology was becoming readily apparent. Unfortunately, the promise got channeled into an area where we have long-standing regulations that have worked really well. And that is that you can't make a widespread public offering of securities without going through the SEC registration process.
Yeah. Okay. So far, so good, right? He's kind of spot on, right? He's not saying anything. So. Yeah. So far,
nothing outlandish.
Let's hear. So let's see what else he's telling the Economic Club in New York.
And,
it's a good thing he's not in his bedroom.
ICOs and the like essentially flaunted that. And look, I don't blame people for being motivated to try and take a new technology and raise money using it, but I was not going to be the chair that threw the 33 Act out after 85 years of success.
So he wasn't going to be the guy. I wasn't going to be the guy that threw it out after 83 years of success. You see his like little sinister laugh there. Yeah. And so I'm guessing this was in his official capacity of the SEC, as I'm seeing the logo behind him, right?
That's very official.
So he wasn't good.
You got the whole thing. He's got to buy the book.
Is that Giancarlo right there? It looks like him. So who is that? Who's that guy? Why do that guy look so familiar? The guy in the middle, top middle.
Who's the guy at the bottom?
Oh, that's Bill Gates. No, I don't know who that is. It's Bill Gates' brother with glasses and a mustache. I don't know. I don't recognize these people, but they're all kind of laughing along, having a good little yuck to themselves. Let's see what he says here. There's a little sinister laugh.
What is that logo?
So there you have it. But that said, incredibly powerful technology for the financial sector. I mean, it's technology that greatly reduces the costs of verification. It's technology that greatly reduces the costs of information transmission.
Interesting.
And it's technology that can drive some of the inefficiencies out of our.
Now, what if we clipped it right there and we said, excuse me, Jay Clayton, can you please explain what Ripple is? And he goes into this rant about its technology. That's, he starts talking about all the problems it solves, right? It's kind of weird. Out of nowhere.
System.
Oh, we should have.
That's where we are today. Comply with the securities laws, but push the technology forward. And the area that is of particular interest to me and many of those regulators that Gary mentioned is the payment system. We all recognize that our payment system is inefficient.
Man, it's all spot on. Everything he said so far.
Right. It's all spot on.
I don't have any issue with what he's saying so far.
No, it's like it's almost as if he was describing Ripple. If we said, "Hey, can Can you tell us a little bit more about Ripple and what you think the future is going to be like? And he would go in this long.
It's inefficient. Internationally, it's extremely inefficient.
You don't say.
About payments.
If we don't work and use technology to address those inefficiencies, the market is going to do it for us. And I think we'll like the outcome much better if we as regulators proactively enter that payment space, ensuring that all the time proven safeguards around AML, bank secrecy, anti-terrorism, and the like are there. So I see significant promise going forward, Glenn.
I think I have no issue with what he said.
Not at all. It's spot on.
Even that last part where he's, he wants to look at the tradition that has helped, provide the direction of our financial economic system, whether it's domestic, international, however that interaction is. I find it really interesting because he references we have to embrace the technology. We have to make sure we support the technology. And then he goes into, we don't want the private market to do it first because they will do it. We want to make sure that we as regulators jump on it first. And he didn't say control it. He didn't say penalize it. He didn't say crush it. He said embrace it and make sure it fits within the AML, KYC, etc. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and it was before, who knows really what justified the whole idea of the lawsuit. But you know what? I mean, quite honestly, everyone's talking about it. It surely is getting some, there has to be some sort of a legal standing and precedent. And, quite honestly, the problem I have with the Howey test in the 1933 securities law is it was built for a different time. Look, technology's changed, we changed. Don't try to cram everything in the same legacy box. It doesn't fit. It just doesn't work, and there's no way that you can sort of stick everything back in the box. And you're like, oh, if it applies. And he actually is kind of right about the regulations, right? He's talking about, and what he kind of brings up a subtle point that the SEC can only really work within the framework that exists. It's not really the SEC's task, job. This is where it kind of makes no sense when I started seeing Hester Pierce talking about how they're going to set the standard, or they're going to, that 3-year safe harbor type of thing. They're not really legislators, right? You need someone like a Congress to go ahead and pass laws. Now, they could probably pass maybe some sort of a framework, but they're not really the people, are they, Jeff, to do that?
I don't think so, and I don't think they should be, but they are working within the confines. So if they're going to work according to the laws on the books, 1933, 1934 Securities Exchange Act, then they understand how they're supposed to treat something. 1946, you have the Howey test. They understand how they're supposed to apply it to identify if it's a security. They can then, figure out, well, the crypto asset space, with all of these rules that we have on the books, we're going to pass some sort of ruling on our own based on how we think it should be, based on the existing laws. It's up to Congress to change that. It's up to, Congressman Warren Davidson with the Token Taxonomy Act to set the record straight and make some big changes. Chip, before any of that, I want to give a big shout out to Jeff Wilhelm. Said XRP is on sale right now, fellas.
Thank you.
Big supporter here. Appreciate you, Jeff.
Wow, Jeff, that's pretty awesome. No, you're right. And that was something that we were going to open the show with is, hey, there's a giant sale going on right now. It's called the crypto market. Jeff, thank you for bringing that up because it's spot on. Everything is on sale right now. And it's like some people see, like the old thing where it's like the pessimist and the optimist, it's half water's half, full, half empty. Quite honestly, it's like, well, then people are like, okay, so yeah, I'm down with the whole concept, but where does it go and when do I buy? Because I saw people saying, yeah, I bought it 70. And I saw someone else tweet, bought it 65 while I was doing my workout. That was Alex coining 203. Then I'm like seeing it like hovering around 61, and you can't lose at some point. It's going to get there, right? But something, every once in a while, something fun happens on Twitter. And you got to have a little bit of fun with it because Peter Schiff is always poking the bear. This time he thought he'd poke the bear pretty hard, and it results in some hilarity here. And let me just wait a minute. Why is that Here, I got to remove
New York hostage just saying what the F is going on and who's driving the prices down. The entire market being decimated.
What do you care? You're a New York hostage.
That's right. Stay in New York. Stay in New York.
Well, today,
yeah, what do you think? China had something to do with that. And then
China's shutting it all down.
It's emotion.
Of course they did. They shut it all down. But again, it's all manipulation of the marketplace. We're going to, I mean, it's like every 2 weeks, we're going to crush it. No, we're not. Just kidding. We're going to crush it. No, not. So
there you go.
That's a good one.
Maxine Waters and the Token Toxicity Act.
Toxicity Act. That's about the size of it. That's exactly what it is.
There's another shirt, by the way.
Token Texas. Yeah, I came up with another one today.
Toxicity.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's look at this here. So Peter Schiff poking the bear a little bit. He's like, consider where the price of Bitcoin would be today if Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, or Barry Silbert and all the other Bitcoin elites and their friends in the financial media hadn't spent the last 6 months convincing retail and institutional investors to buy their worthless tokens, right? So, of course, big bad Barry Silbert chimes in with, it would still be performing better than your shitty gold fund. I just love that, man. It's still performing. That man, that is some good, funny stuff. And of course, he links it over. Is this it right here? Is this the?
There were some other good comments in there.
So he basically pulls it up right here, and you can see exactly how that's performing. It's doing really well. Off the cliff right there.
What is it in all time? Is that all time?
Let's see. Let's just look at 1 year. Yeah, it's
go all the way out. Bring it all the way.
Max.
There you go.
It's never really. Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, it had an all-time high, but now it's heading down the backside right there. There's the year to date, and you can see that's a pretty big tumble right there. It's a straight line. So yeah, funny that he links right to it. So nobody has any kind of like wonder what he's talking about there. And
now let's put Bitcoin up next to it. Put XRP. Didn't we just say yesterday if you had invested $1,000 in XRP? What percentage? 14,000%. 14,000.
Exactly. Yeah, and so then Peter McCormack, another Bitcoin max, he says, well, don't you try to convince people to buy gold? So he's like kind of like throwing it right back in his face. Sure, but I don't buy commercials to do it. I haven't met with any CEOs to convince them to buy it, and the gold market's huge, so it's impossible for me to impact price. Ay. So yeah, it was but don't you back out of bets because you won't stand by your claims?
And New York hostage was saying, Jeff, why do you think my comment is funny? Aren't you tired of them? Yes, I think it wasn't so much that it's not that it's funny. It's funny because it's sad and then true.
It is sad, right?
It's funny. It's 100%. It's being manipulated 100%. We agree with you. And if people missed that original comment up here, which was what the heck's going on? What's driving it down? And they're in part manipulation. You've got China shutting down exchanges. Then you got Shifty Schiff over here, doing his thing. He's doing his thing. And then you're going to have the media piles in and gang. But that's all we've seen now, Chip. So this is nothing new with Peter Schiff coming out. Well, we've seen it. We've seen one politician after the other, from Yellen to Elizabeth Warren to, one after another piling on the digital asset space and creating a narrative that's false, complete false narrative. And here you are, you're seeing it unfold. Look at the people are responding to this false narrative.
But this is a blue check mark battle. Blue check mark, Barry Silbert, verified Peter McCormack. And he goes, but don't you back out of bets?
Don't try. Yeah.
But don't you back out of bets because it won't stand by your claims? Oh, what bet did I back out of? You're referring to the 10-to-1 odds on Bitcoin hitting 20,000. I'm in. That wasn't the bet. You said 10,000 and I offered you 5-to-1, but you changed it to 20,000. Then I offered you evens. You can even have 15K at 3-to-1. So they're like going at it right here. It's like a cat fight here. And Peter Schiff says, well, I thought Bitcoin could fall to 10,000 and you offered to bet me with 5-to-1 odds. I didn't accept the offer, but proposed to bet at 10-to-1 odds on Bitcoin hitting 20,000. I assume you don't want to accept my offer either. I don't blame you. So, I mean, it's like two little kids, except they're using bigger words. And they're obviously they're playing on a big different field, but it's like ridiculous. No, it's a stupid bet. Previous all-time highs can act as a base. It's like then all of a sudden he sort of like ducks out of the conversation and old man yells at Bitcoin. there you go. That's I guess that's Peter Schiff right there. Old man yells at Bitcoin. He still lost out. Yeah. So to me, it's just it's pretty funny too. They're all going at it. The blue check marks are going at it. Everyone's up. Everyone's mad, Jeff. The whole market's down, and they're all mad. They're yelling at each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it gets nerve wracking. You see, if you look at everything in a very narrow view, then you're going to be nervous. If you look at the daily view, the weekly view, the monthly view, you're going to see all the movement. Go to the hourly view. Go to the minute view. You're going to see even more movement.
Volatility,
and it's terrifying as you go down and down and down. But you can't. You gotta demagnify. You gotta keep backing out, and then you look at the space in its entirety. And that's what DJ Jarvis is saying. He said, bro, if you study this asset class, you wouldn't be worried at all.
Not at all.
And that's the point. So you have these guys like Schiff piling in when it's going down. But why aren't they, analyzing it from a perspective over the past 10 years? Which performed better, gold or Bitcoin over the past 10 years? What performed better over the past 5 years? XRP or gold? We could break it down and look at it. All we know is that XRP is up 14,000% in 5 years. Granted, you might have got in at $3, but if you dollar cost averaged as it went down and hit the low, your buy-in price point would be significantly lower.
Exactly.
But that's what you do in all stock. When it's going down, if you have full faith in the project, then it's not going anywhere. It's still going to be in existence. When Apple was going down, when Microsoft is going down, when Amazon was going down in the early days, people were riding the ups and downs, and it pulled back. If you believe in the project, it's going to go back up. And why would it be different in the digital asset space when it's gone through these rides? 2017, 2018, Bitcoin hits 20,000, pulls all the way back to 3,000.
I mean, we know that, Jeff. I mean, it's not even worth arguing about these nutters out there. This is like two little babies. By the way, quick question before you put that up. I want to take that off a second. Do you like spam? Did you ever like spam at all? Did you like the taste of it?
No.
Okay, then this would be appropriate. So XRP Speedball, thank you for that support. He says all markets now are like spam, like a spam milkshake, cold and tastes like shite. Ooh, can you imagine like spam mixed up, Jeff?
I still don't understand why they make it. I don't understand. And it's been around forever.
I don't know what it is. It's been around since like the 20s and 30s. I think
it's byproduct.
Well, look, I mean, you get rid of the byproduct, you're gonna make some food out of it and stick it in a can. I mean, I can't imagine what that tastes like. And then you start seeing stuff like this. Look, this is what happens. You start investing.com's got to jump in. XRP falls 10% in the sell-off. And it was trading for 65 cents by this time, 4 o'clock. And then on the index, it fell 10%. So what? It's like a whole article about this.
And these are the day-to-days. That's it.
Yeah, newsflash. Price went up and it went down. It went up and it went down. I mean, they're writing whole articles about this the past 7 days. You saw a drop in value and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if we have to talk about it, Jeff Wilhelm said exactly the right way. He's like, everything, it's on sale right now. It's on sale. Some people buy when things are on sale, but most people prefer when the run's happening. And my friends call me up and they say, it's $1.80. Should I buy? And I'm like, dude, I can't tell you what to do. But they're like, but I don't want to miss it. I fear of missing out on the way up. But when it comes down, that same buddy of mine said, man, it's such a rough market right now. I'm like, well, that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is like, you can really help out your dollar cost average if you bought over $1. So you can bring that dollar cost average down and, you buy at different times. It's just, it's not the end of the world. People get, but Jeff, I want to put this up here because I think it's time to really, really get into something important. If we take a look at the entire world's money and the markets in one visualization. Now, let's start down. Let's start at the top here. All right. Start at the top. This right here is silver. This is the silver market right here.
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, there we go. That's silver.
What is that? It's a dot.
It's a dot. That makes up silver. This is the entire cryptocurrency. These little dots right here, that's Bitcoin, and then that's the other 5,463 coins. Here's the military spending.
Silver is really that small?
Yeah. It's small. It's small.
A good reason not to get into it because it's too small.
Well, there's one way. And then you got the military spending. Yes.
Okay.
And then you've got the U.S. budget deficit. Now that's 2020. It's not 2021, right? So you're starting to see, okay, so that's what, 23 trillion right there?
Wow. Yep.
Then you got coins and banknotes. Now this right here is just the U.S., the euro, everything else, China, yuan, and then the Japanese yen, right? You're like, okay, I'm starting to see that there's the U.S., but there's the money, there's the coins and the banknotes all put together. Now, this is the Federal Reserve's bank balance sheet, supposedly. This red side right here that you see, that was added on January 1st, 2020. So look at the whole entire balance of the Fed sheet and look at that right there. It's almost at least a third.
Couple bucks.
Then you got the billionaires in the world added all together, and you look at that, that's pretty sizable when you think about that in comparison, right? Then we look at the gold. Hey, that looks like something. So you've got all the gold.
Look at jewelry. Holy cow.
Look at the jewelry. The jewelry almost accounts for the total supply of gold. Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing.
Then you got the below ground reserves where I don't know what those really are. That means the unmined stuff. When usually reserves are stuff you've already mined, but I don't know what they're referring to here. But again, a sizable chunk. Here's the Fortune 500 right there. Look at the size of that, Jeff, compared to, let's say, billionaires, or even if you look at the gold market, right, or the crypto. It's crazy. I mean, we are in such a small segment right now. There's the Fortune 500. Microsoft, 1.3 billion. You got Apple at 1.3 billion, Amazon at 1.1, Alphabet, which is Google, and then Facebook. Look at the size of that. Look at the stock market. So people go like, oh, the crypto market could never get that big. XRP could never be supported. You could never support a $100 XRP. Well, what we're showing right here is really important because this is the total money supply. So when you think that, well, I mean, it could never accommodate a $100 XRP could never go there. Think about all the money we're taking a look at right here, and then we'll ask the question again. So there's the New York Stock Exchange. There's the
89.5 trillion.
Right. It's crazy, right? 89 trillion in the stock market. And there's the three biggest ones. You got the New York, the NASDAQ, and there's everything else. So you can see the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ makes up a pretty sizable chunk compared to the rest of the world. Now, let's take a look at the money supply right here. Total value of the world's easily accessible money is 35.2 trillion, includes all the world's coins, banknotes, checking deposits. Then you got the broad money. This is the total value of the world's money and is 95.7 trillion. This includes coins, banknotes, money market accounts, as well as saving, checking, and time deposits. So you kind of see where we're heading here. Look at this. 7% physical versus 93 non-physical. And
that's important right there. The 93% non-physical money, as you start factoring into the currency discussion, bringing crypto into this space.
It's already digital, Jeff. What does that tell you?
Right.
93% of it is just a number and it's not physical.
And El Salvador is already moving in this direction.
They're already moving in the direction. So they're going to look potentially 7% physical. They're like, we need a CBDC. It's already a number. Try to do a bank run. It'll be gone. Then look at the global debt. This is a little bit silly. So you've got, this is the total amount of debt, including that accumulated by governments, corporations, households. Together, it adds to a 253 trillion, 322% of the global GDP. Look at this, Jeff.
Of debt. And then you wonder, a debt jubilee.
Oh,
if the global debt is greater than the entire global GDP, 322% of the global GDP, you do a debt jubilee and you erase everybody's debt, you reset it back to zero, everybody's back.
And then you run it up in a year, Jeff.
And it'll run up in a year. It'll go so fast you wouldn't even know it hit you. The debt will go back. And it's amazing to me. That this has been, when you look at it from this perspective, it's it's always I don't
want to thank James Rule XRP for sending this over, because this is right here. It really puts a lot of it into perspective. Now, when I think about like you said, the whole debt jubilee, right? You look at this and by just compare one or two of these little blocks over here, that's the entire crypto market right there. And we're all around here sitting thinking, oh my gosh, look at the market. It's not even visible in something in a comparison chart like this. That's how silly it is. The percentage of GDP change in the global debt relative to Q4 2007. Look at that. Yikers. Then
government out of control.
We got 27% of that as the government. We have 18% in the financial sector. You got 24% of that of the households. And then you got 30% are non-financial corporate. So the big bulk of that whole thing between is really the government. So the smart people and the elites and the ones out there, and this is the whole thing, not only a debt jubilee, Jeff, but you got to cancel it. You got to get away. You got to be sovereign all the way. You don't do the CBD. You don't want a central bank because they go, yeah, it has the US dollar. It says the euro. It doesn't. It's a central bank that loans it to all the governments. The governments then have to pay interest on that. So you create, this whole system is built on debt. That's why, and it lasts usually 40, 50 years, and that's why we're here. And look at the next big one. Here's the global real estate. All global real estate, 280 trillion in total. 22% of the world's total residential asset value is in North America. 22%. So 1/5 of the world. But only 6% of the population lives in the U.S. Now that's disproportionate, Jeff, right? Would you say? I'm not a math genius, but that doesn't look right. Europe contains only 22% of residential assets by value, but only houses 10% of the population. Whoa. But look at this. Let's just scroll through this. There's residential.
Residential is impressive, like $220 trillion in residential. So now you start thinking, Chip, when you tokenize real estate, you tokenize all these other assets, and now you're starting to get a picture of what's happening within the space, the movement, the valuation, because you have these utility tokens and more that all of this other stuff is going to be represented by. And this ownership that we're looking at in real estate is massive. I can't, as you start breaking out, commercials only 33 trillion, but residential, you're talking about big towers, individual houses, small apartment complexes. But a lot of those big towers are up for tokenization. You tokenize it, you own a little piece of it, and you can do that on a global scale. Now, all of a sudden, you've expanded the utility of your token into the trillions. I mean, it's amazing. It really is. And look at agriculture, man. It's exciting to look at this stuff.
Yeah, well, look at the other thing too. Look at commercials. So commercials, 33 trillion. Really, it's residential is the big one. But even agricultural is it's kind of right behind it. You look at 27 trillion agriculture. Look, you have to grow the food, right? You gotta feed the world, right? But now
the orange grows.
The orange grows, yeah. So now let's take a look at global wealth. So
that's why we don't have them here anymore.
They don't. The global wealth, according to Credit Suisse, all global wealth tallies up to $360 trillion. The global wealth. Guess where 31% of it is located? United States. You've got 29% in the US, 2.5% in Canada. That's the North American wealth leaders.
It's only 30 million people in Canada.
Yeah, 2.5. That's why it's only 2.5%. Yeah. You got the United States median wealth per adult is 66,000. Canada, it's 107,000. So you got a smaller population. The per median wealth is a lot more. Now let's look at Europe. Europe is 25%. So it's really not too far behind the US, 25%. There's the leaders right there. You got Germany, United Kingdom, France, Italy, and Spain. That's your leaders right there. Then you get into the Asia Pacific, APEC countries. So you've got China.
Oh, look at China, 17%.
Crushing it. Right behind that is Japan, just under 7%. India, 3.5%. And it's the funny thing is, I think where we're going to see the shift is in India. So India has a really good shot at doubling and tripling that, right?
I mean, I think they have a bigger opportunity than what China has. China built their wealth on replication, duplication, and theft of other people's product. And in India, they're building from the ground up, but you have a lot of tech thought leaders in India. They're very entrepreneurial over there, and they're trying to make their country better, and they're reaching out into the poor community. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take a long time. South Korea too. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised to see South Korea at 2%. Based on everything, it's amazing.
But also, by comparison, Australia, you got a lot of land, but it's a smaller population. But I'm kind of surprised too, Jeff. I kind of thought they might be somewhere sandwiched in between Australia and India. And XRP Speedball, thank you for that. He said, "There's no new world order. It's just world order. Always has been, always will. Don't get sucked in by the fake narrative. It's a distraction." There you go.
Yeah.
So as we start looking down and so this is when it's important to look at stats when everybody goes crazy about crypto and the market fluctuations. And who was it that brought it up earlier in the stream today that if you zoom out and you look at it, you're not going to be surprised. You're kind of expecting it. But again, then, that goes along to what Jeff was saying, Williams earlier, saying that it's on sale, right? If it's all on sale, you kind of know how these market fluctuations work. So let's move right along here. So then you got, by wealth, 63.8 trillion, number of millionaires, 4,447. Look at how disparaging this is right here. Latin America is 2.7%. And I'm guessing a lot of that's probably going to be Brazil. And then if you look at Africa, the continent, the amazingly rich continent of Africa is only 1.1%, and that is a total shame. It really is. I mean, it's horrific.
It has a long way to grow. So what we're looking at now, we're seeing a seismic shift. Remember Alex Mashinsky? He said those that come out of the ashes of everything that we went through are going to be different than the leaders before. So Africa has this opportunity right now. South America has an opportunity. It's not who can hand out. You look at all the handouts, you look at all the UN corrupt programs that crushed nations in Africa and elsewhere and held them back. And now if they get a little bit of an opportunity for self-reliance, self-preservation, and they have an opportunity to join, and not just join, but lead this economic revolution, you're going to see such a seismic shift from 1.1% forward. You're not going to see, people running over to Europe to figure out how you can send money back to Africa because, they're suffering. You're going to see building upon building going on in those communities if they're allowed to embrace it. If you don't get these punitive measures, coming from the World Bank and the IMF and other agencies like that want to keep them oppressed and poor at that 1.1%, because there's a business in that whole handout, donation, charity thing. There's so much money in that they don't even care. It's not even about the people. It's just about the money that's moved. And that's it. And that's where you're going to see the massive growth.
One important thing to note,
Come on, man, Berserker.
What's up, Berserker?
What is up, Berserker?
Yeah, I had to play that, so I just had to do it. So, I mean, this is like putting everything in perspective. Now let's look at the derivative market. Okay, let's think about your comment earlier when we started thinking about all the money, right? Moves all the money. You started talking about tokenization of real estate, tokenization of everything, right? The gross market value is basically 11.5 trillion, more or less. The notional value is 558 trillion. That's a low-end estimate right there, okay? What's a derivative? Derivative is a contract between two or more parties that derives its value from the performance of an underlying asset, index, or entity. So look at the derivative market here, Jeff.
Wow. Look at that. Goes on forever.
Look at this, Jeff. And people are wondering, they're like, well, geez, I don't know. Do you think XRP could break $10? Probably not. Do you think it could break $100? All of the money. It's going to move all the money.
Bitcoin, yeah. Bitcoin's not going to 100,000, 200, 300.
Yeah, of course not. No, it never will happen. Jeff, look at this, okay? The notional value is 1 quadrillion. Now that's the high end. So you have the low end and the high end. And look at this. So they're asking, so why in the range? Why is the range in the low and the high end estimates so large? The low end estimates for the notional value of the derivatives comes from the BIS and covers only the over the counter products.
International settlement.
Right, international business. Yeah. Then you've got the high end numbers unofficial, but it's cited by multiple sources. Includes non over the counter derivatives. Non over the counter derivative may be a bespoke product used to hedge large. So, I mean, even in the guesstimate right there, this is ridiculous, Jeff. Right? It's in crazy.
It's so big. They had to just end the article. They couldn't continue. It's too much. It just goes on forever. Look at these
so this includes future contracts, forward contract options, warrants, swaps, all that stuff. And we're wondering, and so let's represence it. Let's reset this whole thing we started talking about. Look at all this. Look at all this. Look at all this. And as we start, I'm going slow on purpose. And now let's take a look at the crypto market. Can we? Total cryptocurrency now 244 billion. It's actually higher than that. But so what if you had another block there, right? Or another 2 blocks? Look at silver.
When was this whole thing written?
2020. So it's a little bit off. It's not going to be, the market hit 2 trillion for, it was at 2 trillion. What's the current market, by the way? What are we at right now? It's probably, it might be under 1 trillion at this moment in time.
It's probably, yeah. I bet it's 1.
What is it looking at? Let me see here and pull it up here. Let's look at what it is. Yeah, it's 1.3 trillion global market cap. So yeah, okay. You look at 1.3 trillion. This is 2. So it's maybe, it says 244 billion.
Up at the low. So what is so we're still not even scratching, and that's the point. Look at silver. Silver at 44 billion, basically, right? Yeah. 43.9 billion. Is that say billion?
But it's a little bit higher. Yeah, but silver's higher than that right now. I don't know what the price of silver is. I think silver is touching 30 at one point. So, it could be it could be potentially 2 bulls. So if you look, the bottom line is that when you start looking
at silver 2607 per ounce, is that per ounce?
Yeah, it's per ounce. So that's the spot price. So you got to look at they're basing this on spot price. You got to look at the spot price of silver right now. So that's like 26-ish.
26, yeah, 2607.
Okay, so based on that, look, it's not 100%, but look, what is accurate is the comparison in the charts, right? The military spending. You look at so you got the U.S. takes up 36% of all military spending. You got 14% of that is China, and then everything else makes up the other 15.
And those are old numbers too. That's from 2018. So
that's from 18. That's higher.
You take these numbers forward. Obviously, these numbers are bigger. Everything's bigger. Put everything on a different scale. But you look at our budget deficit. What are they saying? That the budget deficit 3.8 trillion.
But they're saying estimate is as of April of 2020. So that's gone way up. I mean, I know that's just like, because there's a lot added to this. They've added a lot in the last year. So that's blown up too. But if you look at it, this is why I like to visualize it in kind of squares, because your mind can't compute it. You start looking at it starts talking about some of the billionaires. Look at Bezos. And again, these numbers are all low, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff tweeted on crypto Twitter of all these guys like Saylor and stuff wearing McDonald's hats because they lost trillions of dollars, the big T. So, but you got the big billionaires there.
Darcy was just kind of going through his calculations, and his net value is still under 1 trillion. So, see what we never talk there.
About. Hey, don't be bragging. You braggart. Stop bragging. And you look at the world's gold right there. I mean, the fact that 40% of it is in jewelry is like just mind-blowing to me, right? Then you got this other part that's private investments, get the official holdings, which are governments probably. Then you've got the other. But it's some crazy stuff, man. Look, on the Fortune 500, the big 5, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, and Facebook make up 25% of the Fortune 500. 5 companies. Insane.
It's insane.
So anyway, I think it's a good thing to realize. It's a good thing to represent yourself that, look, these are early days. Yeah, you might have started in crypto in 2013. You might have been one of those OGs that bought Bitcoin back in the day, 2009, 2010. You go like, well, Chip, I've been doing this. I started 11 years ago. Think of it as day one. It's so tiny. and people are all like upset because the market's tanking. Meanwhile, the experienced people that are looking and zoom out and say, oh, okay, I see an opportunity here because it's going to do one of these, right? And if you're going to
micro dips, yeah, even year over year, those are still minor when you zoom out a decade. Go out 10 years, go out 5 years, even those annual changes become smaller.
Yeah, and so I think that's why one of the reasons, we wanted to talk about this tonight, Jeff, because you got to put it in perspective. And this is the best way to look at all the money, these little tiny boxes. At least I think so anyway. Still there, Jeff? Hello, Jeff.
I'm still here. I'm here. What about the tiny boxes?
I was just saying, put it in perspective. Everyone's getting freaked out. The market does a little bit of a jig, does a little dance, slides down the backside, comes back up. You ever do that? You ever see somebody like dance and they kind of do that low and then they pop back up on their feet? That's how it is, man. It's a whole dance. It's a market. That's what it is. I get people all freaked out about this stuff. Let's not get all crazy. Let's not lose our perspective in life. And that's what it is. And then, the people in the chat, they know better. Berserker says zoom out. Berserker knows. Right there. Look at Oscar Nash. He says buy more, right?
Buy. It's a buying opportunity. I was looking, let's see.
Look at
XRP, 60 cents.
Yeah, 60 cents, going to go to 59. This is awesome. So HBI says blockchain companies in the stock market dipping is an opportunity. Each week I increase my position. This is like the different kind of thinking. Look, there's contrast. People think, oh my God, they talked about the sell-off in that one article. Yeah, fair enough. People are going to hit the panic button. Sell, sell, sell. But people have been around the space go like, okay, this is interesting. I like this.
And this is in general, because if you look at like ARK, ARK Investment with Kathy Woods, when Tesla was going down, she was piling into Tesla. When other markets were pulling back, she was, piling into those markets. Palantir was pulling back, she piled into Palantir. And we're talking about millions upon millions of dollars and millions of shares purchased. But you look at the big movers, and that's exactly what they're doing. You do it on a smaller scale. You have to invest what you can afford. Don't take crazy risks, or you take risks to whatever your level of comfort is. And that's all you can do. The rest is, it's kind of a long-term kind of, let's see how this market's developing. And Chip, you're pointing out, we're just it's a speck. It's just a speck in this growth. And this thing is going. It'd be interesting to look at the dot-coms in the 90s and see an equal kind of representation of what its valuation was throughout the 90s, from the 90s to today. And you probably see, same thing. It was just probably a number of boxes that are just like, obviously.
Look at this. Here's another. See, this is why I love the people that stop by, because look at this right there. Soul World says Basel III is coming up on the 28th. No more paper contracts, gold to trade. So right there. So that's going to change some stuff. It's going to put some regulations, going to set some stuff down. And for the banks are going to be able to do a little bit of shenanigans. So thank you for bringing that up, because this Basel, whatever they call it, 3. Going to be pretty significant coming up on the 28th, because they're going to start setting in stone what you can do. This is a good one. Thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that. And Jeff, there was a race this weekend. You talked about it this past night, and so check out what happened. Check out this car right here. Let's look at this here.
Nashville?
What's that?
Was this from Nashville?
I think it was Nashville. Yeah. Let me just hang on a second. That's not the right. I'm sorry about that. But Jay, what do you think about Basel III coming up? Basel. What do you think about that?
Basel.
Here we go. Let's load this puppy up, and let's do it. Here we go.
Contact right there, just turns his car sideways down the front.
What is it, Jeff?
See, I don't know. What could it be?
Right, really close there.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
Mills in the 5.
It went by kind of quick, Jeff. Can we see that in slow motion?
Look at the rear tires off.
Check it out. What is it? Oh gosh, look at that. Doge just got hammered. The Doge car just got hammered for everybody listening to the podcast. Man. Yeah, so the Doge car was cruising along, took a little turn on the inside, kind of overcorrected, came back, hit the wall, and got a perfect camera shot as it came by, because that's kind of what happened to Doge. It kind of crushed.
Off the ground.
Look at
I was
that.
going to say we talk a lot about the racetrack and keep it up and how great it looks. Remember, 10 years since we're now.
It's perfectly displayed right there. I just thought that was funny.
Contact right there, just turns his car sideways.
Look at that little bit of
straight away.
You know what it was? That grass actually screwed him up.
Wow, right, really close.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's no traction on the grass. He's like trying to turn it over, and by the time he could, it was too late. Anyway, that's some fun stuff right there. Tina Hall's in the house. Thank you, Tina. What's up? Thank you. Your sister from another mister. Yeah, it's our sister from another mister. I like that. Thank you very much, Tina. Oh gosh, what an incredible week we are having right now. Jeff, has anybody got the meter going on XRP? Is it bounced below 60 yet?
XRP Panic says animal coins are the future. So, buckle up and make sure you get those animal coins. That means the Yeti. Buckle up. XRP is still sitting at 60 cents. It hasn't gone anywhere.
Here's what's symbolic. Jeff, here's what is very symbolic of that shot right there we just looked at, with the car kind of like it's actually plays in very well to this right here. Look at this. Dogecoin has lost 72 billion in market cap since Elon Musk's Saturday Night Live appearance. $72 billion, and it kind of illustrates that you almost want to play anytime it gets a hit in the market. That little slow-mo view of the car passing the camera. It was perfectly intact, though. I mean, it was a good advertisement, at least on the slow side, anyway.
It's still at 17 cents.
Yeah, how about the people that got in? What's the all-time high on Doge? Do we know?
Didn't it go up to 50?
I think it went up close to 50.
It was in that zone of 50.
But 72 billion, Jeff. That's a lot of coin right there.
Man, that's massive. And the Shiba, they keep talking about Shiba going up, and
it doesn't go up.
And it's down 13% in the past 7 days. So I don't know what all this talk is. It's going up.
Man, I'm down on Shiba. Like I just, like I say, you throw $100 into it. Throw $100 into some of those coins. Every once in a while, these projects. I know they don't make it. So what? But they're like, yeah, it's gonna make a rebound. Send it, and they're sending it all right into like an 80%. I'm like down like 85% on it. It's like, I'm sorry, it's not doing that well.
There's some big opportunities out here. I mean, you have 30% decreases over the past 7 days. Bitcoin down 20.
Look at Matic.
Man,
Matic is down over $1 from its.
Yeah. Where is it? I had it up and now it's gone. It was $1.08. Where'd it go?
I don't know, Jeff.
Me neither.
I can't be certain. Jeff, one of the things, look at this right here. That's a beautiful place right there. And you guys know where that is. That right there is Portugal right there. So I love a lot. The buildings there are really, and then look at this right here. Portugal grants the first crypto exchange's operating license. Central bank announced Cryptohola and Mine the Coin will be able to operate in the country. So this is pretty significant, Jeff.
And you got a European El Salvador. Look at that. Nice.
Right? I mean, look at the news that's coming out. How can you not be massively excited for what's going on in crypto? And this is the central bank called Banco de Portugal has licensed 2 cryptocurrency exchanges for the first time. I'll be honest with you, I don't know anything about either one of them, but this one almost looks like Chiptola, but it's not. I'll hack that later. But it looks like Cryptoloha, and I can't say that, so I want more. I like Mine the Coin, Mine the Gap, Mine the Gap. Long way, first being the first regulated exchange in Portugal means a lot. In April, the bank executive confirmed at the time that Banco de Portugal received 5 formal registration requests and a total of 60 informal contacts, according to local media outlets. So this is big, man. Mine the Coin and Banco de Portugal not immediately respond to CoinDesk's queries, but it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, it's big news. I mean, we're seeing a lot of development on the international front. So people all over the world are starting to see some progress. They're starting to see that movement, and it's super meaningful. It really is.
Super.
Yeah, super.
Look at XDC is holding strong. Yeah, I have to say that. I'm like, the bottom hasn't dropped out yet, which is interesting.
Hey, I got a question for you. You got the whole Binance, the BSC thing.
Yeah.
And what is up with everyone? They keep getting hacked over and over. It's like every week, another Binance Smart Chain gets hacked. Here's another one hacked, exploited. This time they got 500,000 from impossible Binance in a flash loan. But this isn't the first one. You know,
but wait a minute, Jeff. Question though.
Are they susceptible? Are they targeting? I don't understand. Is it
the question though?
Yeah.
Do you remember that you did a story recently where you remember that they said that the Binance Smart Chain was copied off Ethereum? Well, how come there's no hacks on Ethereum? So it's probably not. I mean, it can't be the same code, right? Because they're getting hacked left and right. You know, nothing.
Yeah, well, they copy the code and try to make their changes. And made a mistake.
Well, the BEP or those coins aren't getting hacked, but this is a serious problem. Not good press at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is the case with this, and when you read the case without really understanding, or read the press without understanding the dynamics of it, is it the Binance smart contract that's the problem, or is it the project that's building on the smart contract or the smart chain that's the problem? It could just be you have all these weak projects out there that just are susceptible.
But why is it the Binance Smart Chain though? Why is it that the only one that's getting hacked? It kind of gives you a little pause to wonder if there has to be a connection. That we've seen a bunch of these already.
Well, look at that. There you go.
Zoom in on that.
He's the core developer of SushiSwap, said it was the same type of vulnerability that was exploited in a recent 7.2 million attack on BurgerSwap, another protocol built on BSC. So you get to a point and you say, are they making the same mistake? Or again, is it the BSC that's the problem? You know, I don't know. I mean, it's you kind of look through this and you try to figure it out. The swap function is supposed to verify X, Y, K, whatever, which basically verifies that the contract got enough input tokens required to do the swap. Maybe it's just sloppy coding. What do you think? Maybe it has nothing to do with the BSC.
Yeah, but why is he saying the same vulnerability, right? So that means they didn't patch the vulnerability, right? If you have a vulnerability and they go like, it was the same exact thing that, well, why didn't they warn them, or why didn't they fix the vulnerability first? So something's up, man.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. It's hard to know, but all I do know is that if it's your first time here, if you have been here before and hanging out with us and you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing to the channel. Click that notification bell because it lets you know when we go live. And the best way you can help us is to share this with other people. Why? Because we see videos out there that are getting like 20, 40, 60, 80,000. And we're like, where are these people, man? And it's like, where are they hanging out? So that kind of
bring them in, share
it with them, man. The more come in, the merrier. Don't worry. Not everybody wants to
bring a friend. There's plenty of seats for everybody.
Yeah, everyone gets a seat at the OTC table.
Plenty of drinks here at the OTC party. So
that's right. And I saw a great tweet today. It says, saw an awesome tweet today, and he said, I got my first shot, and I get the second shot when the bartender gets back. So I thought that was pretty good. I was like, okay, nice. So on that note, guys, it is a great. Someone said it in the chat earlier. It's a great start to the week. You better believe it's a great start to the week, and I love the optimism. And whoever said that, and again, I wanted to pull that up. Who said that, Jeff? Somebody said it.
I don't know, but that's a new shirt on the chain. A great start to the week. There you go. So you know what, man? It's another day. Another day tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday already. I know the week's already flying by, and it's only Tuesday. But man, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Chip. I'm fired up about tomorrow night. Excited to see what we're going to talk about because we have no idea yet what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So it's going to be amazing.
It'll be good. It'll be strong. It'll be fun. Guys, we will catch you on the next one. Chip and Jeff signing off. See you back here tomorrow. Have a good one.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.